Welcome back to the Neuro Finance Masterclass. We are absolutely thrilled to dive into day 78 of the 365 Days to Financial Freedom series. Today, we're tackling a foundational concept that literally dictates almost every single financial outcome in your life. We're talking about time preference. It's this invisible force guiding whether your wealth actually grows or just evaporates into thin air. To really grasp it, we're going to look at what we like to call the marshmallow test of finance.
Think about that idea for a second. It perfectly captures the whole essence of wealth building. You probably remember hearing about that famous psychological experiment from decades ago, right? Well, it turns out it's not just about childhood psychology. The exact same mechanics that govern a little kid staring at a plate of candy, they're totally at play when you look at your bank account, your investment portfolio, or even your online shopping cart. Finance is, at its very core, a giant, lifelong version of the marshmallow test.
Okay, let's quickly break down how this classic experiment actually worked. Step 1. A child is brought into a room, given a single marshmallow, and told they can eat it right then and there. But then comes step 2. The researcher says, hey, if you can just wait 15 minutes without eating it, which leads directly to step 3, I'll give you a second marshmallow. Now, 15 minutes is pure agony for a kid, but researchers tracked these kids for decades, and the results were absolutely staggering. The children who successfully delayed gratification, the ones who could actually hold out for that second marshmallow, ended up being far more successful in practically every area of life. We're talking health, academics, and yes, for sure, their finances.
All right, moving on to Section 1, Defining Time Preference. Let's look at the mindsets.
This idea brilliantly illustrates a massive choice we all have to make. In the world of finance, you're pretty much operating under one of two mindsets. On one side, we have high time preference, which is the mindset of the consumer. And on the flip side, we have low time preference, which is the mindset of the architect. These two avatars view time, money, and reward in completely opposite ways. One of them demands immediate satisfaction, while the other is busy building for the future.
Let's look at the consumer first. When you have a high time preference, literally everything is urgent. You want that reward and you want it now. You value the present moment infinitely more than the future. As soon as that paycheck hits the bank account, bam, it's immediately converted into a new smartphone, a luxury vacation, or a fancy dinner out today. It's a super impulsive, fast-paced mindset where the future gets heavily discounted. Why? Because the craving for that immediate hit of dopamine completely overrides any capacity for long-term planning. The consumer is the kid who eats the single marshmallow the absolute second the researcher leaves the room.
Now, let's slow things down a second. The crucial point here is how the other side views those exact same resources. Consider a specific amount, $100. If you've got a high time preference, you think about this $100 and you just see a new pair of shoes. But if you have a low time preference, if you're an architect, you value the future. You are fully willing to sacrifice a small comfort today so you can build a massive empire tomorrow. The architect doesn't view this $100 as a pair of shoes. No way! They see it as a seed that's meant to be planted so it can eventually grow into a massive tree.
Which brings us to Section 2, Seeds versus Bread.
So let's take this biological metaphor a step further. Imagine you're holding a handful of seeds. You basically have two choices. You could grind those seeds up right now, bake a little piece of bread and eat it today to satisfy your immediate hunger. Or you could choose to endure that hunger. You could take those exact same seeds, plant them in the ground, and just wait. Wait years for a magnificent forest that'll provide an endless supply of fruit for the rest of your life. Grinding the seeds, that's the consumer. Planting them, that's the architect.
I really want this concept to sink in for a second. Every single dollar spent on a want instead of a need is a seed you have eaten. That carries some real philosophical weight, doesn't it? When you buy something you don't truly need, just to feel a fleeting sense of joy, you are literally grinding up the very seeds that were meant to grow your future wealth. The architect completely understands this fundamental truth. They absolutely refuse to eat the seeds of their future empire just to satisfy some temporary craving today.
Moving right along to Section 3, the architect's superpower. Okay, let's zoom out and look at our modern reality. We live in a totally instant world. Honestly, everything around us is engineered to drive up your time preference. Think about it. We've got endless, rapid-fire TikTok feeds, one-day shipping right to your front door, the constant flashing allure of get-rich-quick schemes, and the overwhelming urge to just panic sell during minor market dips. Our entire environment is screaming at us to take the reward right now. This chaotic, instant gratification machine is exactly what the architect is competing against. But here's the secret. Because everyone else is falling for it, doing the exact opposite becomes your absolute greatest advantage.
Let's formally define this persona. The architect is a master of delayed gratification.
Someone who thinks in decades. Decades! Remember back in day 72 of the source material when we dug into market volatility? The consumer totally panics when the market drops for a week. But the architect? They are completely immune to that short-term volatility. When you lower your time preference, you just aren't bothered by what happens this Tuesday or even next month. Why? Because your unshakable long-term vision is locked onto a horizon that is years away.
And this elegantly connects right back to the compound machine we analyzed in day 68. Picture this timeline in your head. Year 1 is all about planting the seed. That takes serious discipline. Year 5? That's about enduring. It's watching the tree grow slowly and resisting the urge to chop it down for firewood. But Year 10? Year 10 is about harvesting the forest. Lowering your time preference is the exact fuel that allows the compound machine to operate completely uninterrupted. If you keep pulling your money out to buy things, the machine stops cold. But if you leave it alone for a 10-year horizon, it builds massive wealth.
Section 4. Making the shift. Let's turn this theory into practice.
All right, here is your cognitive task for today's explainer. I want you to actively challenge your own financial decisions. Step 1. Look back at your bank statement and spot your last 3 non-essential purchases. The things you wanted but definitely didn't strictly need. Step 2. Ask yourself with total, brutal honesty, did you eat the seed or did you plant it? Evaluating your own recent behavior against this architect framework is hands down the fastest way to rewire your financial brain.
As we start to wrap up, I really want to leave you with this incredibly powerful thought from our sources. True wealth is the ability to ignore the noise of today to own the reality of tomorrow. The noise is the one-day shipping, it's the flash sales, it's the minor market dips. Ignoring all of that, that is your superpower.
So from this day forward, before every single purchase you make, I want you to pause, just take a breath, and ask yourself this one question. Am I choosing an instant marshmallow, or am I building a forest? Shift your vision. Deliberately lower your time preference. Plant those seeds, let your compound machine run, and watch your empire grow. Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer. We can't wait to guide you through the next one. Keep building that forest,